Every NFL season has its fair share of drama, but only Jerry Jones can turn a quarterback rumor into a full-blown soap opera. And this time, his sights are set on a rookie that doesn't even play in Dallas. Shedeur Sanders. Yes, the same Shedeur Sanders that Cleveland fans are already hailing as their miracle quarterback. After decades of draft busts, false promises, and quarterbacks who looked allergic to pressure, the Browns finally land a rookie who plays calm, throws darts, and for once makes the word hope feel possible in Cleveland. Fans are ready to believe that Shedeur could be the guy to finally drag them out of the dark ages. But then, enter Jerry Jones. If football has a resident billionaire villain, it's Jerry. Equal parts oil tycoon, circus ringmaster, and desperate legacy hunter. While the Browns celebrate stability, Jerry is already whispering and scheming like he's starring in a season finale of Dallas, the soap opera edition. Because for Jerry, quarterbacks aren't just players, they're corporate empires in cleats. And Shedeur, he's not just a quarterback, he's the golden ticket. The son of Deion Primetime Sanders, dripping with charisma, followed by a massive online audience and already moving jerseys like a superstar. To Jerry, that's not a player. That's Bitcoin with a spiral, and he wants in. So now the whispers start. Dinner conversations with old friends. Rumors of outlandish trade packages. Tempering speculation, floating through league halls like confetti after a playoff loss. And somewhere in the middle of it all, Shedeur himself. Just trying to play his rookie season while billionaires circle above him. This isn't just football anymore. It's theater. It's legacy chess. And with Jerry Jones calling the shots, you can bet the chaos is only just beginning. For Cleveland Browns fans, the word hope has been more of a punchline than a promise. Quarterbacks have come and gone like bad sequels, hyped up, disappointing, and quickly forgotten. But then came Shedeur Sanders. From the start, something felt different. He didn't look rattled under pressure. He didn't force ridiculous throws or shrink when the lights turned bright. Instead, he carried himself with that calm, almost icy confidence you need in a franchise quarterback. Cannon-like passes, steady reads, and poise in the pocket. Suddenly, Cleveland wasn't groaning through another Sunday. They were leaning forward, actually believing in what they were seeing. Fans started dusting off a word they hadn't used in years. Franchise. Shedeur wasn't just running the offense, he was running the conversation. Jerseys with his name sold faster than the Browns' past QBs could complete a third down conversion. On social media, highlights spread like wildfire. The kid wasn't just playing, he was sparking momentum both on the field and in the culture surrounding it. And for a city worn down by decades of quarterback heartbreak, that mattered more than any stat sheet. Sanders felt like the miracle they'd been waiting for. A rookie who didn't crack under pressure. A leader who looked ready for the spotlight. Finally, someone who felt like the future. But just when the Browns thought maybe, just maybe, they had stumbled into stability, the NFL's eternal agent of chaos stepped onto the stage, Jerry Jones. The same man who's turned the Cowboys into both America's team and America's soap opera wasn't about to let a charismatic rookie thrive in Cleveland without trying to crash the party. In true Jerry fashion, it wasn't just admiration, it was obsession. And that's when the story shifted from football miracle to billionaire drama. If there's one thing everyone in the NFL knows, it's this. Jerry Jones doesn't just own the Cowboys. He owns the spotlight. Whether Dallas wins, loses, or stumbles its way through another playoff heartbreak, Jerry makes sure the circus tent is still full and the cameras are still rolling. He's part owner, part showman, part reality TV producer. And now, Shedeur Sanders is his latest storyline. As soon as Shedeur's name started catching buzz in Cleveland, Jerry perked up like somebody had just offered him oil rights on Mars. To him, this wasn't just about a rookie quarterback showing promise. This was about a brand. Shedeur is the son of one of Jerry's favorite Cowboys of all time, Deion Primetime Sanders. He already had the swagger, the highlight reels, and most importantly, the marketability. Jerry doesn't just see a quarterback throwing darts. He sees dollar signs, headlines, Netflix documentaries, and jerseys flying off the shelves in every mall from Dallas to Dubai. And Jerry's love for spectacle is legendary. The man built AT&T Stadium like it was a palace for himself, complete with a 60-yard video screen so big it could distract pilots in orbit. He thrives on the big move, the wild splash, the blockbuster trade that makes the Cowboys the only thing anyone can talk about. So when Shedeur Sanders started winning over Cleveland fans, Jerry wasn't content to admire from afar. Whispers suggested he was already running scenarios in his head, imagining Shedeur in a star-covered helmet, Deion pacing the sideline as head coach, and himself sipping whiskey in his luxury suite as the mastermind of the NFL's new dynasty. And that's the thing about Jerry. When he gets fixated, subtlety isn't in his vocabulary. If he wants Shedeur, he won't just watch. He'll plot, whisper, scheme, and eventually find a way to turn rumor into chaos. Because for Jerry Jones, quarterbacks aren't just leaders. They're franchises in cleats. And Shedeur Sanders might be the one he can't resist chasing. The craziest part about Jerry Jones circling Shedeur Sanders isn't just the headlines, it's the history. Because Jerry and Deion Sanders go way back, and that legacy is the gasoline being poured on today's fire. In the 1990s, when Primetime put on the star for Dallas, he didn't just play cornerback, he became the face of the Cowboys' swagger-filled dynasty. Deion brought flash, confidence, and highlight reel electricity that fit Jerry's vision of the Cowboys perfectly. They weren't just winning football games, they were dominating culture. Jerry adored it then, and decades later, he still talks about Deion like an old flame he'll never quite get over. So now, when whispers started tying Shedeur's name to potential movement, Jerry's mind went into overdrive. It wasn't just about a promising rookie quarterback. It was about the son of the man who helped define the golden years of Jerry's empire. To Jerry, this wasn't a coincidence. It was fate. Of course, the NFL has rules about tampering and communication. On paper, Jerry can't just ring up Deion and say, "Hey, let's get your boy to Dallas." But Jerry has never exactly been shy about bending rules until they look like suggestions. Reports claim mysterious dinners, unnamed sources, and third-party intermediaries have already been floating Shedeur's name around Cowboy circles. Nothing provable, nothing concrete. But the smoke is there. And here's the kicker. Deion himself hasn't poured water on the fire. Primetime's respect for Jerry is public. He's even admired Dallas as a brand long after his playing career. If Deion sees opportunity in aligning his son with Jerry again, those sparks become embers fast. So when fans joke about tampering or secret back-channel deals, remember this. Jerry Jones doesn't see Shedeur as just Cleveland's quarterback. He sees an unfinished primetime sequel. And in Jerry's world, sequels are always bigger, louder, and way more dramatic. Jerry Jones doesn't just think about winning football games. He thinks about carving his name into NFL history books in bold, italicized letters. And when it comes to Shedeur Sanders, Jerry's vision sounds less like a football plan and more like a Hollywood script. Whispers around the league suggest that if Jerry truly decides to chase Shedeur, he won't come quietly. We're not talking about dangling a mid-round pick or throwing in a backup linebacker. Rumors claim Jerry is willing to blow up the roster with multiple first-rounders, starters, and financial gymnastics bold enough to make Wall Street sweat. It wouldn't just be a trade. It would be the type of blockbuster that gets studied in worst or greatest trades ever. Lists for the next 30 years. And here's where Jerry's flair for theater really kicks in. In some circles, speculation even had him reuniting Shedeur with Deion Sanders as head coach of the Cowboys. Imagine that. Prime pacing the sidelines in a designer suit, Shedeur under center, and Jerry basking in the cameras as the genius who orchestrated football's ultimate family reunion. That's not just a team, that's an empire. Of course, logic has no place in Jerry's fantasy. Dak Prescott is still on contract. The Browns have no reason to give up their first real hope at quarterback in decades. But Jerry's never been about reason. This is the man who built a $1.3 billion stadium as a shrine to himself. For him, Shedeur represents more than talent. He represents immortality. Because for Jerry, the endgame isn't about playoff wins. It's about being remembered as the ringmaster who turned football into Broadway theater. Deion Sanders, in Jerry's mind, is the keystone to his final act, the future star of the Cowboys' greatest and possibly most chaotic chapter. While Jerry Jones is busy scribbling his fantasy scripts on a billionaire's cocktail napkin, Cleveland is quietly tearing itself apart in the background. You'd think finally landing a quarterback who looks like the real deal would bring unity. Instead, it sparked a civil war inside the Browns building. On one side, you've got the football people, coaches, scouts, and locker room leaders who want to protect Deion Sanders at all costs. They've seen this movie before. Cleveland finally gets some talent, only to ruin it by rushing decisions or caving to outside noise. For them, Shedeur is the first rookie in decades who looks like a true franchise quarterback. He needs stability, development, and patience. Then there's the other side, the suits upstairs who see nothing but dollar signs. Shedeur is more than a QB, he's a brand. His jersey sales skyrocketed past veterans. His social media buzz dwarfed most of the roster. Executives who couldn't market water in the desert are suddenly daydreaming about corporate tie-ins, licensing deals, and how many luxury boxes could be sold if Jerry Jones came waving his oil money wallet. The result? Meetings that sound less like football strategy and more like an episode of Succession. Coaches argue for reps and growth, while execs mutter about maximizing asset value. Everyone swears they want what's best for the franchise, but the definition of best depends on whether you live on the sideline or in the boardroom. And stuck right in the middle is Shedeur himself, just a rookie quarterback who wanted to prove himself in Cleveland, now finding his name scribbled into billion-dollar power plays he never asked for. The locker room feels the tension too. Some players whisper about protecting Sanders from front office foolishness. Others wonder if his name is destined to be just another chapter in the team's cursed quarterback history. For Cleveland, the miracle turned into a migraine almost overnight. And Jerry hasn't even picked up the phone yet. If you thought the chaos was just confined to Jerry Jones and the Browns, think again. The media and fans have turned the Deion Sanders storyline into an all-you-can-eat buffet of speculation, memes, and hot takes. On one side, you've got Cowboys fans frothing at the mouth, already photoshopping Shedeur into a star-covered helmet and imagining Deion pacing the sidelines like the sequel no one knew they wanted. To them, it's destiny. Shedeur's charisma, Dallas's spotlight, Jerry's billions. What could possibly go wrong? Answer: a lot. But logic has never stopped Cowboys Nation from dreaming big. Meanwhile, Browns fans are pulling the opposite direction. For a city that has been through more quarterback heartbreak than any franchise should ever endure, the idea of trading away their first real shot at stability feels like betrayal. They're defensive, territorial, and blunt. Keep Jerry far away. For once, they don't want to be the punchline. The media, of course, is eating it up like free pizza. Talk show hosts are staging heated debates about whether Jerry would really mortgage the future and whether Cleveland is strong enough to resist it. Some analysts call it nonsense and laugh at the tampering whispers. Others lean into the drama, pointing to Jerry's history of wild trades and asking, why not? Every rumor, tweet, or offhand comment fuels a fresh segment on cable sports and floods Reddit threads with conspiracy diagrams. Even the league office is reportedly irritated. The NFL loves storylines, but controlled ones. the kind they can polish for primetime packages. Jerry's back-channel whispers and shadow theatrics, that's the kind of chaos that leads to investigations, fines, and awkward press releases. At the end of the day, though, everyone's in agreement on one thing. Shedeur Sanders has instantly become one of the most watched rookies in the league. Half the crowd sees a star, half sees a soap opera, and all of them can't stop watching. At the heart of this saga is a surreal clash. Shedeur Sanders, a rookie quarterback just trying to establish himself in the NFL, versus Jerry Jones, a billionaire owner who sees players not only as athletes, but as revenue-generating stars in his never-ending theater called the Dallas Cowboys. For Cleveland, Shedeur represented rare light at the end of a very long tunnel. A franchise that's fumbled more quarterbacks than some teams have drafted finally had someone who looked calm, capable, and potentially special. For their fans, the thought of losing him to Jerry's schemes feels less like business and more like déjà vu. Another cruel twist in a history filled with heartbreak. But Jerry doesn't think in terms of heartbreak, he thinks in headlines. For him, Shedeur isn't just a quarterback, he's the crown jewel in one final act that would cement Jerry as the NFL's ultimate showman. The Deion connection, the jersey sales, the cultural spotlight, it all feeds Jerry's obsession with not just building a contender, but leaving behind a legend. The brutal irony? Shedeur never asked for any of this. He just wanted to prove himself, step onto the field, and make his own name outside his father's shadow. Instead, he's caught in rumors, corporate tug-of-wars, and whispered negotiations that make his debut season sound more like a scripted Netflix series than an NFL campaign. The NFL itself is watching closely. Chaos sells, but too much chaos invites investigations, tampering accusations, and a PR headache they'd rather avoid. And fans? They're hooked, part horrified, part thrilled, waiting to see whether Jerry's ambition collides head-on with Cleveland's fragile hope. So what's next? Maybe this all fizzles into rumor. Or maybe Jerry Jones pushes until the unthinkable becomes reality. Either way, one truth remains. What should have been a simple rookie story is now a battle of ego versus innocence, spectacle versus substance. And that's the Jerry Jones effect, where football isn't just football, it's theater. And Shedeur Sanders? He's the rookie cast in a role far bigger than he ever signed up for.